Welcome to a new release on the show. This is the 5 questions to nourish the mind, body and soul, to get to know the person sat in front of me a little bit more and ask them questions they wouldn't normally have. This has become very quickly one of my favourite parts of the interview. Now, we are re-releasing these because we released these months ago for our paid subscribers over on my newsletter, The Compassionate Cure on Substack. If you're not a paid subscriber, you will get these months in advance as being part of our community. However, we are now starting to release them. So enjoy. This is more of a personal connection and a shorter episode, but it really gets into the heart and not into the mind of the person who is sat in front of me. The first question is about what makes you uniquely you. So if there was one small thing that you would say makes you uniquely you, what would that be?
One small thing?
One small thing.
Everything makes me uniquely me. I would say that I have had many chapters in my story already so far. So I think I'm not attesting to be Madonna, but I've certainly reinvented myself a lot. And I think that makes me uniquely me.
Love that. Okay, the next one, which I feel like is very much your area because you're a psychotherapist, is around overcoming resistance. Okay, so what's been the most pertinent area of resistance in your life and how did you overcome it?
Wow, that's a really good question. I think I am a perfectionist, and it's actually not a quality that I like about myself. It means that I give myself a really hard time over things. So it's a work in progress. I'm not sure I've completely overcome it yet, but I am trying to be good enough. So every day I have a mantra: just do your best, just be good enough, and that's everything from writing a book to being a mum. If you do something, I think, with like a pure heart and pure intentions, and you just be good enough. But I'm a work in progress, right?
As we all are.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I had Oliver Burkeman on the other day, and he talks about the insecure overachiever, which I think is another kind of analogy for a perfectionist. And it's interesting that you say that that's something you don't like about yourself, but there's also so many benefits as well that come with being a perfectionist. But it's kind of, I guess, being aware of the downsides and being able to hold that. Okay, so I'm now going to ask you around small changes and big impact. So what's the smallest change that has brought the most ease into your life? And that's maybe quite an interesting one, thinking that you're a perfectionist.
The smallest change, I think it's forcing myself to get up a little bit earlier, even when I don't feel like it, especially now. I have a 2-year-old, and so she's a great sleeper so far, actually. So she's often lying in, and I'm thinking, oh, I'll lie in with her. But then actually, she's up and she's on the move, and she needs so much, attention and tending to and stuff. So if I just make sure that I wake up just that little bit earlier, get myself dressed, and I've started having a cold shower just for like the last 30 seconds of the shower, and it kind of gives me a bit more energy for the day ahead.
Yeah. Gives you a cortisol boost.
It's probably not an original one, but it's right now what's true for me.
Yeah, but that's the question that we want to know.
Yeah.
So this is around a health transformation. So don't get scared when I ask you this, but it's really interesting actually how people have answered this one. This has been the most surprising one that I've asked. What's one big health-related change that you've made that has significantly impacted your well-being?
So I have experienced burnout a few times in my life. And the thing that helped me the most at that time was that I saw a functional doctor, functional nutritionist, and they worked with me, and we did a really thorough analysis of my bloods, of my saliva to check my hormone and my cortisols, my hormones and my cortisol levels. And based on that, she was able to prescribe such specific supplementation that really, really helped to reset me, my body, my nervous system. So that's made the biggest impact for me. And then making sure that I stick to that regime of supplements, and doing everything else that I need to do to look after myself.
I love that because I interviewed Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett, who's a neuroscientist at Stanford, and she talks a lot about body budget. And she talks about, kind of I don't want to say mental health illness, because I don't believe that you have to have a poor mental health and also have a mental health illness, but also when you're kind of struggling, whether it's kind of stress or burnout or whatever that is, that you're in a body budget. And that actually we should really be looking at our nutrients and kind of our sleep and our environmental factors. Our body is on a negative. And so therefore we actually need to look at how we can support it, not just thinking about, our brain and therapy just in isolation, actually, that they kind of coincide. So I love that you said that.
Absolutely, right? Whatever's going on in the body is also going on in the mind and vice versa. And when your nervous system's out of whack, something is going on, and it's different for everybody. And that's why I'm a huge believer, if you can, and I appreciate, it's not always that accessible for everybody, but if you can get your bloods tested, just at the GP, and then get a functional doctor or nutritionist to look at the results, we can just be so much more targeted about, really what's going on in your body versus mine. So, and I've really, really benefited from that personally. And now it's something that I say to my own clients all the time: if you can, go and get tested.
Yeah. I mean, as a nutritionist, I thoroughly agree with that. Okay, so the last one is peace with the past. Okay, so what's been the hardest thing for you to make peace with about yourself or life in general?
I don't know how deep to go. We've just met.
Go deep. Let's just go in.
I lost my mum when I was young. So I think trying to find peace with that, and that being my story, has been the hardest part. But I also know that I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't be sat with you. I wouldn't have written a book and be a therapist and hopefully be, trying to be the best parent that I can be, if I hadn't been through that experience. But I think grief and loss is something that you can never fully make peace with, but you learn to live with it, and maybe through doing that, at some point you can make peace.
Incredibly courageous. And I think that's such an important point to make, right? That the really, really, really tough moments make you, really shape you as a person.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the 5
You're
questions
welcome.
to nourish the mind, body, and soul. And I'm very excited to dive into the show.